Hey guys, it's Adam from LucidPixel and welcome back. Last week I posted a video talking about this game of art and productivity and growth and how it's not always a fair game for everybody. That our circumstances can be very different depending on our lifestyle, our responsibilities, our geographical location, and many other different varying conditions, and how to navigate around that. And the feedback that I got on that video was astounding, to be completely honest with you. It was amazing how many of you voiced back at me your personal experiences and your feelings. And what really struck me was how ready and willing all of you were to be candid about your personal life, well, within reason, of course, right? But just to say, hey, I've been through that too, and here's my experience. And what really, to me, what I find incredibly important about that feedback was it does two things. Number one, it reminds me that I'm not alone in this. And a lot of people don't realize that even though I'm the guy making the YouTube video, even though I'm the guy recording this, I'm no less human than you are, right? So when I go out on my limb to share something personal with you, to hear in return that you appreciated it, you needed to hear it, and that you were going through that yourself, really does matter to me. And it made me go, wow, okay, cool. I'm not alone in this. This is cool. And it really made an impact on me. But it also does something else. When so many of you are voicing in that thought and that feeling, and that how much you appreciate it and what a difference it makes, what it's doing is it's illustrating the fact that it's one of those things that we might suffer with in silence. That until we vocalize those feelings, it might not officially register in our brain as being, quote, a thing. We might internalize that as just being a flaw or a feeling that only exists within us, that we want to keep to ourselves. And being human, we're very often very vulnerable and very afraid to let people know of our weaknesses, let them know of our insecurities. It's for reasons like that, like when I see artists like Ahmed Aldoori, for instance, who will openly say, I'm really not happy with this and I want to take a mentorship or take a course and improve my skills and do it very publicly. Or somebody like Brad Colbo who will say, I suck at art, and he gives himself an F. And I even made a video on that a little while back. That takes a lot of courage to do something like that. And I mean, I'm only naming 2 YouTubers there, but there are countless YouTubers that really have a lot of courage and really go out on a limb and kind of, in a sense, stand at the front of the battle line to take the first blows and take the first arrows for everybody else. And when YouTubers do that, you really got to take your hats off to them, because that shows a lot of courage, and it's very incredibly helpful. And Noah Bradley, for instance, showing his old art. Tyler Edlin, who just posted videos where he was showing some of his old crappy art he was ashamed of. I mean, these people deserve a lot of love for that kind of stuff. The other type of feedback I got, which was really something else and really got me thinking, I need to make a video about this, was a couple of people voicing in saying, what do I do with my time when I'm not producing art? How do I take a break without feeling guilty? How do I take time off as the doctor prescribes when you're starting to feel that burnout? How do you take a break? It's easier said than done, right? And when I read that, I thought, wow, this is a really big deal to me. This is something that I've dealt with a lot in my time. When I felt, and I knew that I was kind of reaching a bit of a tipping point, I was reaching a bit of a boiling point where I felt I really needed a break. I just felt like, if I keep going at this pace, forget it. I need to take a break. I'm just getting sick and tired of this. When I do that and I'd say, okay, Adam, it's time to take a break. No art. Put the pen down. Stop, put the books down, put the pen down, and just take some time to just have me time. play some games, do some stuff you like. So cool. So I would put the pen down and I'd close Photoshop and I'd start watching a couple of YouTube videos. And then I'd browse the web. And then I'd go to the gym. And then I'd come home and take a shower and make myself a bite to eat. And then I'd play some games. And then I'd watch some more YouTube videos. And we're only 1/3 of the way through the day. And I'm already starting to feel like I'm starting to burn through my resources of stuff to do. And I'm starting to get a little bit kind of like bored, right? I don't know how long I can keep this up, and I've still got 2 weeks ahead of me. And if I really, really pushed it, I'd probably get through an entire day of this. But then by the time we reach day 2, I don't know what the hell to do with myself. I just doing nothing for any length of time, or just kind of not drawing for the sake of not drawing, I'd get tired of it. And then I'd eventually just go, screw this. And I just start drawing, or I'd record more videos, or I'd do something. I'd do some kind of work just to pass the time. And that would perpetuate this pattern, because I'm tired of drawing and I'm tired of doing things, but I don't know what the hell else to do with my time. And this is the comment that I got. This is the feedback I got. So this is the discussion. This is how I learned to navigate around this obstacle. Because I did have to learn how to navigate around this obstacle, because I was pushing myself down a fiery pit by pushing myself too hard and by not giving myself a proper break. But I didn't learn this lesson from art directly. I actually learned it from a couple of different resources. Well, I learned it from one in particular, but there's another one that I want to talk about that kind of helps to illustrate the proper perspective. I was watching recently a documentary of some kind on YouTube, some science show. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember the name of the video was, "Why Do We Always Have Space for Dessert?" or something along those lines. And they were actually physically talking about how we, even though we can eat a full meal and feel satiated, we can feel full, we can feel happy. If somebody offers us a bowl of cereal, a bowl of ice cream, or some other sweet or something else, we generally tend to have space for that, interestingly, even though a moment ago our stomach was technically full. At least we believed it was. And I don't know if it's a scientific theory or proven fact, but it's a very sound theory if it is the fact that when you feel satiated, as in satisfied with the amount that you've eaten, when you feel full, that doesn't necessarily mean that your stomach is physically full and has no more space in it. It's that your brain has sent off a signal saying, you've had enough of this, we don't need any more. Remember that your body is reacting to something chemical. And when you feed yourself food, you're feeding your body nutrients. And when your body has received a certain amount of a certain nutrient, it kind of, the kind of green light goes on. It says, that's good, we're set, we don't need any more. And if you keep feeding yourself beyond that, your body can start to get annoyed in a sense. It's overdoing it. It's like scratching at something for too long. And your body will send off a signal saying, you're full, stop, you don't want any more. And you sit back and you stop eating it. Apparently, the scientific theory, or maybe fact, biological fact behind why your brain might react this way to eating the same food all the time is it's your brain's way of training your body, or at least encouraging you to eat a variety of foods, so that your body does not start to deplete itself of certain necessary nutrients. Variety is generally the way that your body will achieve all of those nutrients, a balance of nutrients in the body. So when you get too much of one thing, your body's trained to look for something else. That's why you have space for that extra different food. It's one of the main reasons why when you go to a buffet, an all-you-can-eat buffet, why people tend to overeat at buffets, because you're getting so many different stimulus, you're getting such a variety that you keep eating until eventually you feel like you're going to throw up. So many people feel violently sick when they go to a buffet. I've been to a buffet twice in my life and I regretted it severely both times. Never again. So there's an actual biological reason why our body craves variety. Now, our body also needs consistency. So there's this there's kind of this double-edged sword. If we do the same thing too much, our brain and body starts to reject it. But if we switch too much, we don't achieve growth in certain things. And it's this kind of back and forth flip-flop that we conflict ourselves with. So I think the answer to this question, at least in an outside of art context, comes in the form of what one of my friends and personal trainers, fitness trainers, taught me, or at least something that we discussed when I was at the gym once. He said, when you're taking a break, a lot of people take this as just taking a week off and doing nothing for a week. And he said that's actually a bit counterproductive because it's kind of putting your body into a bit of a depletion and then kind of catching up a week later. He said, no, it is very important to rest because certain muscles, certain joints, certain muscles are getting overworked from this repetition, from this high intensity. So your body needs rest to grow, to heal, to recuperate, and to gain strength. But don't just do nothing for a week or two. You want to do what's called, quote, active rest. Active rest means you might not go to the gym and do weights. You might not go to the gym and do yoga. You might not go to the gym and do cardio. Instead, do the other one. If you're somebody who weight trains all the time, I weight train regularly, then instead do yoga, do cardio, do something else during that time so that your weight training muscles can relax and heal, but you're pushing yourself and you're gaining fitness in other areas. And what happens is, number one, it speeds up the recovery process because you're active, and when you're active, your muscles heal better, provided you're not working the same muscles. And B, when you come back the next week, you feel invigorated, you feel like you're in better shape, you feel inspired, but you also feel healed. So you're kind of getting the benefit of the rest, but the benefit from growth at the same time, which is a wonderful way to go about it. Now take that, everything I just said, and bring it back into the context of taking rest as an artist. The problem with taking rest from art was that I felt like I was depriving myself. I felt like I was depleting myself of mental stimulus, of mental growth. Growth in and of itself is not the problem. It's overdoing the same thing for too long. That the drive, the ambition, and the feeling of fatigue and being worn out at the end of it is caused by this kind of scratching at the same wound over and over and over again. Anything in an overabundance will cause fatigue, will wear you out, it will stress you out, because your body needs a break from it. But it doesn't need a break from everything, it just needs a break from that. The other thing is just long hours. You want to do something that's non-committal, something that doesn't require you to be there every day from this early hour to that late hour every single day. That unreasonable schedule, that unreasonable demand that you put on yourself is also what physically exhausts you. There's a mental exhaustion from repetition. There's a physical exhaustion for doing things for too long and too hard without getting that physical rest your body needs. So what have I learned to do? Well, the holidays that just passed is a very good example of how I took my friend, the fitness trainer's advice. Dennis, if you're listening, thank you. The guy's amazing. I took that fitness advice and I applied it to my holiday. During those holidays, I needed a break from art. Oh yes, and just as a little side note here, even though I work in this, even though I identify as an artist, even though it's my job and I teach it and I love it and it's one of my greatest passions, I do get sick of drawing once in a while. Sometimes I just don't frickin' feel like drawing. I just want to do something else. I get sick of it. It doesn't mean that I've abandoned being an artist. It just means that I just don't want to do the same thing every day and I want to do something different. So let's just put that out there. If you don't feel like drawing once in a while, you're not a failure. You're just sick of drawing. Give yourself a break. But during those holidays, I didn't do nothing, because if I did nothing, doing nothing for anybody, even people who generally consider themselves, quote, lazy, doing nothing is stressful. But during those holidays, I spent that time not just not doing art, because that wouldn't have lasted. I wouldn't have been able to sustain that. I would have gotten sick and tired of doing nothing for 2 days, and I would have gotten back to drawing. Instead, I used that time to learn stuff related to art and production, things that my life could benefit from, that I really loved and I was very passionate about, but just wasn't drawing. But it also wasn't a committal thing. It wasn't something I have to do this now. No, it was break time. It was rest time. So if I wanted to take a break, if I didn't want to do anything for a full day, I wouldn't. It just so turns out that I enjoyed it and I pumped out more content than I ever possibly could because I was having too much fun. But I instead learned about photography, or at least I expanded my knowledge of photography, and I researched different equipment and cameras, and then I started to research 4K, and I got myself a new camera, and I got some new lenses, and I traded in my old stuff, and I traded in my old lights and bought some new lights. I've spent those holidays buying and selling equipment online and getting new stuff and researching and watching YouTubers and seeing reviews on this and setting things up like that and working on my rig and getting audio and doing audio reviews and all that kind of stuff. All of those videos and all of that work hugely benefits me as a teacher, as an artist, how much I apply my knowledge of lighting and photography and lenses and composition and all of these different things, these technical aspects, and bring them into my knowledge as an artist. Technically, artistically, it's huge. I just wasn't drawing. But because it's my holiday, because it's some time off, I did it only when it was fun, which was 24 hours a day, but it was fun. And I had fun with it. When my kids were out for a couple of days and I had the house to myself, I produced a bunch of content and I had fun doing it. There wasn't work to me. It was just play. But it was active rest. I didn't spend that time feeling like I just wasn't drawing. And I was chaining myself to the wall with my Cintiq in front of me, taunting me and undressing seductively in front of me. No, I was busy doing something else, and I was busy growing in another way. In essence, it was, quote, active rest. There's two important facets to active rest. The first is do something that your career can benefit from. But secondly, only when you feel like it. It's not a commitment that, shit, I have to do this, or I'm not going to get paid. Shit, I have to do this, or my career is going to suffer for it. It's, I'm going to do this because it's fun. I'm going to do this because it's a side passion. I'm going to do this because I'm learning something new and expanding myself in a fun way, and it opens me up to different communities and different YouTubers and different channels, and I can sit down and shoot the shit with different people sitting at a party, and share my passion for something that isn't just art related, that I can expand my ability to reach out and make friends. That to me is where you strike that proper balance. But when you're sick of it, you're having a break, sit down and do what I did with my son. We sat down and spent hours playing Breath of the Wild. He's completely obsessed with that game. Oh yeah, a little side note. Lucas, my 6-year-old, soon to be 7, is completely obsessed with Breath of the Wild. Utterly obsessed with Breath of the Wild. I got him there's a book on Zelda over the holidays, and he's got a Zelda poster in his room and everything like that. And he started getting into the art of Zelda as well. He's really passionate about it. So, I realized at one point, wait a minute, my friend, Tyler Edlin, has like a whole library of incredible, some of the best Zelda fan art online. So I decided to show it to Lucas. And I said, you see these amazing drawings? He's like, wow, that's so cool. Wow. And I had it on my screensaver. I had one of Tyler's paintings as my screensaver on my phone. And he goes, oh my God, you know him? And in that instant moment, Tyler Edlin, my friend, became a god in the eyes of my son, which was quite upsetting. And I was very jealous about that. So I wrote Tyler and I said, Tyler, this is what? I said, I want my son back. He goes, what? Because when my son realized that you're a Zelda, you have epic Zelda art, all over the internet. I said, he basically dubbed you as the father he wished he had. And I said, I want my son back. And Tyler, in all of his cleverness, said, well, Adam, then you got to produce some Zelda art, don't you? And I went, yeah, good point. So I might have Zelda art coming soon. And if I do, it's all thanks to my jealousy of Tyler and my desire to win my son's favor in return. Very funny story. So yeah, we played Breath of the Wild and had fun, and we nerded out and got into that kind of stuff, and we made puzzles, and we went to see movies, and we went out and did things. And when I came back home, I couldn't wait to get back home and watch some more reviews on 35mm 1.4 and the Tamron 28 to 75 2.8, and is it really worth getting the 28 to 75, or should I get the 24 to 70? But that costs a whole lot more, and even the GM lens is not near, it doesn't really compare and isn't worth double the price of the Tamron, and the Tamron really is a great budget lens. But do I really need to get that because I already have the prime lens, and that already pretty much has the same focal lengths? Maybe I'm better off getting a prime and just getting a faster prime that's going to save me a lot of money, and I can just keep you see where I'm going with this? This was my holidays. I ain't even gotten started, because then I got into audio equipment, and then I got a B cam to do some top-down views, and I worked on my rig and redid my studio. And you know what? I benefited from it. I grew from it. But most importantly, I had fun with it. And I didn't come out of these holidays feeling like I wasted this opportunity to rest and felt exhausted. I came out of these holidays feeling rested, feeling inspired to draw, because now I had newfound knowledge of lighting and focal lengths and compression and all these different types of things, and color balances and inverse square law and all that kind of fun stuff. I brought that into my art, but also had a lot to show for it. I had new knowledge, new equipment. All of you guys are really showing a lot of appreciation for the new setup and the new content that I'm producing, so nothing was lost. I didn't spend that holiday feeling bored. I didn't spend that holiday feeling exhausted. I feel awesome, and I can't wait to produce some new content. I can't wait to keep painting. I can't wait to keep producing new videos. And that's the headspace you want to be in. Don't just take a break for the sake of taking a break. It's more stressful than it is restful. Instead, take a break doing what it is that you love, but doing something different, something you can benefit from, but do so in a way that isn't overly committal, that adds the stress of deadlines on your shoulders, because you've already got enough of those already with your regular job, with your regular artistic pursuits. So don't double the burden in that way. All right? So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Hopefully it's helpful. Again, I can't thank you enough for just being the best imaginable community online, and the amazing feedback, and how your feedback also helps to fuel future videos like today's, for instance. And of course, I love you with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.